Hi, babies. Hi, little cutie pies. Hi, my little darlings, my little sweetums, my little schmookums. Hi. I hope this video finds you well. It is a general message, so take what resonates, leave the rest. Use your own discernment and intuition. Whenever you find it, it is the right time because it is a timeless message. I will never reach out to you for personal readings because I'm not doing them, and I would not do that anyway. I would not reach out to you like that. So please report those people. Let's get into it, shall we? Obviously, if you haven't noticed, my voice is a little messed up. I'm pretty sick. Well, I'm a bit under the weather. So just hang in there with me because I was called to do videos. So hopefully you can hang. If not, thanks for showing up for a split second. Okay, so the song I got on shuffle here is Thank You by Dido. And what I got immediately, I'll read a little bit of the lyrics. My tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why. I got out of bed at all. The morning rain clouds up my window, and I can't see it all. And even if I could, it'd be all gray. But your picture on my wall, it reminds me that it's not so bad, it's not so bad. I drank too much last night, got bills to pay. My head just fills in pain. I missed the bus, and they'll be hell today. I'm late for work again. And even if I'm there, they'll all imply that I might not last the day. And then you call me and it's not so bad. And I want to thank you for giving me the best day of my life. Oh, just to be with you is having the best day of my life. Push the door, I'm home at last, and I'm soaking through and through. Then you handed me a towel, and all I see is you. And even if my house falls down now, I wouldn't have a clue because you're near me. And I want to thank you for giving me the best day of my life, just to be with you. So what I'm getting here is what I got originally from this is you're understanding why things haven't worked in the past. It's just suddenly making all sense, whether it's a job, person, home, friends, whatever. You're meeting these people, these things, and coming into contact with them to where you're like, oh, that's why I went through, like, there was so much resistance before, there was so much bullshit, because I understand now. I get it. Like, and these things are popping up while you're still recovering, and I'm seeing it in a way like you've done the recovery that you could by yourself, and now it's time to show up, or now it's time for these things to show up that are meant to finish the healing process. Like, you've done all of the work and the self-reflection and, the grieving and whatever you can by yourself. Now it's time to do the thing, like, it's like your wish fulfillment is here because you've done all the internal work and all of the things that you can up to this point on your own. And now it's time to finish it off so you can, like, fully surrender and be in this new wish fulfillment, in this new timeline, in this new vibration, and integrate it. And these things are showing up for you. I'm kind of like seeing it's like you've been in this darkness and you pulled yourself out of it as much as you can, which you had to do. You had to find happiness. You had to find solace within yourself. Otherwise, these things wouldn't have shown up. And now they're here, and you're getting to a whole other level, depth of healing with this. Because one of my favorite, like, sayings or phrases, or, like, I don't know how, statement, whatever you want to call it, is like, you can only do there's only, how do I say it? There's certain healing that can only be done in connection. You know, because you can keep running away from like the vulnerability and stuff like that. Yeah, you did the healing you could by yourself, like, you know, finding independence within yourself. But there's certain healing that can only be done when there's another person involved. Yeah, fuck yeah. So we have the Queen of Pentacles here. It's the Queen of Bears in this deck. This is a Grateful Dead deck. And I'm looking at this because, see how there's this asteroid or meteorite or whatever you call it? The other day or yesterday, I don't know why, but I was like called to drive to a really weird, almost out of the way route for my work. Like it added like miles, but it wasn't very like long. It just, I had never taken that route to work before. And for some reason I was called to do it. I'm like, this is weird. Like, I just started to get like anxious. I'm like, why am I just like out of it? Because I was like feeling under the weather. And then right as I'm coming into, I don't know, I'm probably like a half a mile away from my job. And I see the biggest freaking meteorite, you know, shooting star that I've ever seen in person. I was like, holy shit. And it was crazy because it was really cloudy out. So like I got to see it despite all the other conditions and the timing of that weird ass route that I took, and I was like almost lost, pushed me to that exact moment where I was able to see it from the perfect angle. Because otherwise, if I would have been from anywhere else, like there would have been buildings in the way, or you know, the clouds would have obstructed it, you know, something of the sort. And I was like, oh, okay, because I was getting anxious. I'm like, why did I take this route? I've never taken this route. It was like country roads, and it was all dark, and I couldn't see the signs of the roads, and I'm like, okay, whatever, like this is for a reason. But I was getting like anxious from it because I'm like, why? Sorry about the coughing. So, and then it's like I was like anxious, I was kind of lost, and I was like, what is the point of this? Like, what is happening? And then suddenly I got the answer with the little meteorite. Like, oh, damn, okay, I was meant to see that. You know, that was a little message for me. So you're coming to understand, you know, whether this is past, present, future energy, if this resonates with you and you're on this timeline, you are coming to understand why all the craziness happened, why all the suffering happened, all of that. Like, oh, okay. Or like why you were met with such resistance in the past, because the thing is finally here. And yes, you're like battle worn and tired and, you know, a little, you know, PTSD from it, but it's here and you're seeing it. You're like, okay, this makes sense now. All right. And we have the Six of Cups, which is the Six of Roses in this deck. I'm going to pull one more on that. We have the Queen of Swords. Also, with which is the Queen of Skulls in this deck. So the Six of Cups is the past. And see how there's like the broken spoke? It's like breaking that cycle. And the way these cards landed, she's got her eyes like looking back this way. She's looking to the side. She's like looking in the past. And she's understanding like why things didn't work. Because some of the flowers she's holding are kind of wilting. She's like, oh, okay, well, I understand. Like, by reflecting and like seeing it for what it was, like you had to be where you are right now to understand all the crazy shit that happened. Like you didn't understand it while you were in it, in the thick of it. It's kind of like I don't know, this is like a personal story, so like, you know, it may not resonate for everyone, but it's like if you've done like any sort of hiking or anything in a canyon, you don't realize like how long it is or how big it is until like you're driving past it. Like you leave the bottom of the canyon, you get out, and then you see like, or you see it on a map and you're like, damn, like I didn't realize like how big it was, or um like you can only see so much. Like when something is so large, you only see what's surrounding you because you're so small compared to, you know, like the ocean or whatever. You only see that little bubble of you, of like what you can see like around you, your physical surroundings. And then, you know, you get in a plane and you're like, damn, I was right there, holy shit, there's so much around there like I didn't see. Like it, you know, it's like getting that bigger perspective. And with that, you know, kind of like the airplane analogy or whatever, or, you know, finally driving by the canyon that you were in, you're like, damn, that's a big ass canyon. Like getting further away from it to see it, you know, you got further away from the past to see it. And I'm also seeing it as like you stepping into like union with your higher self. So you're a bigger energy, you're a bigger person. I have 13:14 on my clock. So now you're bigger and you can see things from a higher perspective. And I'm seeing bigger as in like more high vibrating. So you can kind of see things from a more neutral standpoint. You're not just your small self, which it can only see what's the surroundings, what's the physical that's going on. And you're out of that. Sorry guys about the gross sick sounds. And we have the cosmic wheel at the bottom of the deck in reverse. So it's like, once again, kind of how we saw with the Six of Roses. The wheel is broken, the spokes are broken. You're understanding why things in the past didn't work out. You're understanding, you're breaking the cycle. You're understanding it was a karmic cycle and it was broken. Yeah, and we have the sun underneath that with the sunflower in this deck. I'm gonna look that song up because the song I heard is "Get Down on It." With that, like, people are celebrating, dancing, all of that. It's like, oh, okay. And interestingly, there's like the little eye with wings on there. You're able to see things from a higher perspective. I don't know what that song is exactly called, but we'll find it. Get down on it. Get Down on It by Kool and the Gang. What you gonna do? You wanna get down? Tell me. What you gonna do? You wanna get down? Get down on it. Get down on it. How you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? No shit. By standing on the wall? Get your back up off the wall. Tell me, how you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? So it's like you realize in the past, like, you weren't being real with yourself and you're seeing it for what it is, like recognizing it, you know, just as you get older and you can reflect on like when you were a dumbass teenager, you're like, oh man. You know, your perspective is so different with, you know, these years underneath your belt. And you're, you know, you just, even if it's just like a day, you know, because as you keep growing, and shifting and changing, you know, you could have a different perspective the next day. You know, you go to sleep and you wake up and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, I was on some bullshit. Like, I was operating out of this. Like, you're recognizing, how do you want to do it if you really don't want to dance? Like, you recognize, like, you didn't, like, you were, like, say you're reflecting on like a shitty relationship. You're like, oh, okay, I was choosing shitty partners subconsciously because I wasn't ready for the real thing. I was still scared. My ego was still running the show. Get down on it. I say, people, what you gonna do? You gotta get on the groove. If you want your body to move, tell me, baby. It's like, you understand, like, there was a fear of, like, you know, I'm kind of seeing it like with this song. It's like, or are you afraid to dance because, like, you're afraid you're gonna be bad at it or something? Like, you just gotta move, you gotta feel it. Like, you're recognizing, oh, I was operating out of fear, so I was choosing something that I knew the outcome of subconsciously. Like, I knew it was gonna be shitty. I knew I could have one foot in, one foot out. I knew I wouldn't be, you know, just cannonballing into that, jumping full in, head over heels into it. Get down on it. Yes. How you gonna do it if you really don't want to dance? By standing on the wall? How you gonna do it if you really won't take a chance? By standing on the wall? Get your back up off the wall. Because I heard all the people saying, get down on it. Yeah, you're like, oh, okay, so here's this thing right in front of me. You do have some fear because you're, like, battle worn, like I said, but you're taking this chance. And anyway, you're like, fuck, the only way to really get it is by doing it. Okay, well, I gotta take a chance. I gotta see what happens. And it's like and that's that integration with your higher self. Like, I'm seeing it like, how do I describe that? I don't know, I'm seeing these, like, weird fleshy things, like little tentacles, like, coming into union. Like, they start, like, they touch tips, and then they slowly start, like, the little cells start braiding together to become one. So it's like you're not fully integrated with your higher self just yet, but there's that connection where those little cells, you know, I'm just seeing, like, two fleshy beings, like, with the little tentacles, like, coming together. And you're just starting to make these connections, like, just just the tip. Just the tip. Just, like, the tip of the tentacles or whatever they are, like, whatever I'm seeing right now. It's like all these and it's just touching barely, but these little cells are braiding together and integrating. And so now you're understanding, oh, okay, like, you're able to, like, you're not fully integrated with your higher self, but you're getting there to where you can see things from a higher perspective. And you're like, oh, okay, well, the only way to fuck around is by finding out. Or finding out by fucking around, you know what I mean? But so you're coming to understand this, like, and you're recognizing your strength and your resilience. And you're also, because you're becoming more in tune with that higher self thing, you know that you're safe no matter what. And you can trust your intuition. Like, you might have doubts because, like I said, you're not fully integrated. You still have things, there's healing that needs to be done in this union, whether it's with a job, friendship, partnership, whatever life thing you have going on. You recognize, oh, interesting. So I just, like, clicked out of my screen on my computer and there was a canyon in the back. So that's, like, double confirmation. Like, you know, you only see this, like, the little ripples while you're inside of it, and you don't understand, like, how big it is until you zoom out. Get your back back up off the wall. Come on and get down on it. If you really want it, get down on it. You gotta feel it, get down on it. You gotta take a chance. You know it when you're dancing. You show it when you move. You know it when you're dancing. You show it as you move across the floor. So you're like recognizing, so it's like this little integration, this beginning. I'm seeing it as like a permanent thing. There's no going back. That's why I'm being shown like these fleshy things blending together with like the cells like coming together, because it's like permanent. Like that's like permanent growth. It's not like, just, like my fingers braiding together. I can still pull that apart. It's like on the cell level, these are coming together. And with that, you're getting more messages from your higher self, more advice from your higher self. And you're like, oh, okay. The only way to do it is by getting down on it. Come on, baby. Get down on it. You got to feel it. You show it as you move across the floor. It's like, okay, so it's like you have the concept, but now you're like living it. You're moving with it. How do I describe that? It's kind of like when scientists like have a theory and you're like, okay, this is my hypothesis of what's going to happen. You think through it like mentally first, and then you go to do the experiment and, the research and data collecting and all of that. Like you're actually in it now doing the experiment, because you've had the concept, you've had the idea, you've had the premonition of like what needs to be done or how this needs to be working, whatever. And now it's like, it's go time. You're like, okay, the only way to do it is by moving across the floor. I got to do it. Like I got to move my body. When you're dancing, you know it. You show it as you move across the floor. Get down on it. You got to feel it. You got to get down on it. What you gonna do? Do you want to get down? What you gonna do? Get your back up off the wall. It's like, I'm kind of seeing it as like, you're in the mirror like, bro, do you want this or not? Like, this is everything you've desired. It's kind of like you're talking to your battle-worn physical self, like, and that's like where this integration with your higher self is coming in. And that it's like more permanent, because there's like, the voice is louder than the fear. And I don't mean it like in a way that's like, it's like not screaming at you, but you're able to tap into that intuition, that higher self knowledge easier. And you can feel the difference of like, oh, that was fear. Oh, that was intuition. Okay. And, you're in the mirror having this conversation, like, do you want it or not? Because you're channeling that higher self, because you're more permanently connected. There's like, it's, you're not doing like Wi-Fi anymore. You're like hardwired in, essentially. So there's no like blips or, it's like you had these communicate, like it's like Bluetooth or like Wi-Fi, like you have like little skips or little blips in the connection, and that's how it was before. Like this understanding, these downloads, whatever, you would lose it, it would fall off. Like you go behind a wall and the connection isn't as good, or you go outside and the connection isn't as good as it would be inside your house with the Wi-Fi. But now it's like hardwired in, so you're getting these downloads and you're like, oh shit, that's what that was. Because you've gotten to a point where you're like, I have to change something. I have to do it and act on it. And maybe this wasn't intuition, but at least I'll know. Like, it's like that experiment. Like I have a hypothesis that was my intuition. The experiment is I'm going to act on it. And see, like, it, it's just like I want to see if my hypothesis is correct. And there's only one way to do it, is by doing the damn experiment. And that's by doing the thing. I don't have any sort of hard data that says, like, this is true, this is my intuition, this is like facts, but there's only one way to find out, and that's by fucking around. And so you go do your little experiment, and then you're like, fuck yeah, okay, so these little things that you've done, that's given you this like hardwired integration, because now you know exactly what that feels like when you're getting an intuitive download and what's guiding you, versus fear, or like, say you get the idea, you get the download, and then your conscious mind, your ego mind, comes in and is like, blah, 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 I don't know, man. Where'd that come from? No, we don't have proof for that, right? And then when you start thinking about it and tossing it around in your brain instead of acting on it, that's when things get clouded and lost, and it's like the physical world kind of starts clouding up what you were tapped into, like the 5D, you were tapped into the otherworldly. And now you're like, okay, well, now I know what it feels like. I'm going to act on it. I'm going to do it. And I wasn't called to use this deck, but I just saw this card, so I'm going to probably close it out with this. It says, don't take anything personally. Become immune to poison. The whole world can gossip about you. And if you don't take it personally, you are immune. Immunity to poison in the middle of hell is the gift of the second agreement. Don't take anything personal. So it's like taking these steps and like listening to only yourself, only your higher self, because now you're hardwired in. That's giving you confidence in the physical realm of like, motherfuckers can do whatever the hell they want. If you're, let's say your family has always been like able to bully you into folding and like doing what they want because they're like, there was like a group against you. You're isolated, and it was like, let's say like 7 people at a dinner or something. They could guilt you into staying or doing whatever they wanted because it was the crowd against you, and you're like, oh, okay, well, if everyone's here for it, like, then I'll just do it. Now you're like, oh no, I completely trust myself. Like, you can think whatever your crazy ass wants. I see the truth of it now. I'm more integrated with my higher self, and I can see it from a higher perspective. It's like, Alice in Wonderland, taking the little eat me little cookie, and you grow. Like, you're able to grow and like see it from a higher perspective, and you're like, okay, you're acting on a small self program, a 3D self program, and it's very low vibrational. I understand now. Okay, well, fuck y'all. I'm gonna head out. I told you I was gonna leave, and you're trying to bully me into staying for whatever reason. Now you're asking me for money, and now I have to cook and clean and do all the dishes while y'all sit down. That's why you wanted me to stay. Like, you're just like seeing it for what it is. They didn't want you to. It's like you finally realize like all the times that your family wanted you to stay. It's like, so because you would do the chores and you would do like the work that no one else wanted to do. It's not that they wanted to be around you. It's so they could use you. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna take my energy elsewhere, and y'all can think whatever the hell you want, that I'm a bad person, selfish, whatever. I'm listening to my higher self. Fuck that. Goodbye. Have a nice life. I really hope you find healing. Like that type of thing. You're able to, and I'm not seeing it, like, I know I used verbiage that made it sound like you were agitated or like hurt, but it's like, I have 1331 on my clock. I'm not getting that. It's more of like, oh, I'm immune to that. Like, I'm kind of seeing like somebody that's wearing like leather pants, and a rattlesnake goes to bite the ankle or something, and like the snake can't get through, and it's like all embarrassed. Like, it's like they tried to put their fangs in you and put their venom in you. which it says become immune to poison, you become immune. Like you have the armor on that. And, you know, they ended up breaking one of their little teeth instead. Bless me. Thank you. And with that, I'm seeing as like, that's the release. Like, that's like you getting, they were able to throw their pollen, their irritants, their histamines at you and get you in this irritated like state. And now it's like you're immune to it. Your body's like, your energy, your higher self, you know, since you're more integrated, you're more, you have that spiritual armor, that physical armor even, to be unbothered by it. Like you're immune to that. You've grown immunity. Yeah, you had to, it's kind of like, you know, getting you know, when you get exposed to like literally everything as a kid, like it has to be that way so you can, your body's like, oh, I recognize this. I know what to do with this now. I know what my little cells, my little white blood cells need to do now to just crank this out so I'm not as sick as I was or whatever. I have 13:33 on my clock. And that's like with the, oh, I understand this now. Like, cause 333 is like information from the Ascended Masters, downloads of that. Like all of this, you know, taking leaps of faith or whatever on these downloads that you get, and you're more tapped into, your little antenna is strong, you're hardwired. You get more downloads and information easier, and you know what it is. You're like, oh, okay, this is higher knowledge. I don't need to be messing around with this 3D shit where they're trying to bully me into staying or doing whatever. I'm out. Cheers to that, good buddy. I'm immune to this anymore. Your little strikes and bites don't work on me anymore. I learned to wear my leather pants in the desert, you know, whatever, you know, whatever helps with that analogy. All right, babies, I think I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for doing this hard work. I love every single one of you, and I thank you all for all your donations and just being wonderful, amazing people. I love your comments. You're all hilarious and just wonderful, sweetie pies. All right, babes, have a great day. Bye.